Before you get down to writing a lesson plan, you need to gather all the material which would help you to write a good lesson plan. These are called prerequisites. Your first prerequisite is the CAPS document for your particular subject, phase, and grade. The CAPS document focuses on what to teach, when to teach, and what resources would help to teach a lesson. Slides 2 to 7 explain how to use the CAPS document to find the topic of a lesson, the time allocated for the lesson, the concepts and the content of the lesson, as well as the resources needed for the lesson. The CAPS document also states the specific aim of the lesson topic. The next important prerequisite are the textbooks for the subject and grade. There are usually two textbooks, the Learner's Guide and the Teacher's Guide. It is very important for you to read about your lesson topic thoroughly before you plan your lesson. You would have heard learners say, "This teacher knows his or her stuff." Now, these comments are only reserved for those teachers that make the extra effort and read and research their material before presenting to the learners. Therefore, the more you read about your lesson topic, the more confident you become. This would help you in making good decisions when planning your lesson and making it interesting and exciting for your learners. Look at slides 8 and 9, which give you further explanation about the textbooks. Before writing your lesson plan, you need to look at the lesson plan template provided by the university. The details for the table routine information, you will notice, comes from the CAPS document. Once you have decided on your lesson topic, you need to find the specific aim that matches your topic. This is also found in the CAPS document. The specific aim, also referred to as the purpose of the topic, in other words, why are we teaching this topic? The next important thing are the objectives of the topic. In other words, what do you want to achieve at the end of the lesson? Slides 12 and 13 explain the three important things that learners should achieve at the end of a lesson. That is knowledge, skills, and values. Slides 12 and 13 explain each of them and how they should be written. When writing the objectives in your lesson plan, you can either use the table format or write them in paragraph form. Once you have decided on your objectives, you can create a draft plan, which would make the writing of your final lesson plan much easier. Slide 14 is what we call a generic draft plan, and slide 15 is an example using a lesson topic. Study these carefully, as they would be helpful when you are going to write your lesson plan. When introducing a topic, it is always advisable to lead learners to the topic instead of saying, "Class, our topic today is." It is during this phase of the lesson where you need to capture the interest of the learners and get them excited about the topic. Therefore, you need to think creatively about how to introduce the topic. Here are some ideas on how to introduce the topic. Ask questions to get the student to think about the topic of the day. Show them pictures or videos to relate to the lesson topic. Tell a story to show the importance of the topic. The story could be acquired from the newspaper as well, or from the internet. Bring in realia, that means real objects, which relate to the lesson topic. When you write the introduction, you need to mention the resource or the resources you will use in the introduction of the lesson, how you will use the resource or the resources, what questions you will ask to lead the learners to the topic of the day. You need to refer to your draft plan and check whether you have included all the things that you need to in the introduction, that is the resource or the resources, how to use them, and the questions that you need to ask. Note, the introduction should be between 8 to 10 minutes of the total lesson time. Examine the introduction ideas given to you on Moodle and the way in which the introduction is developed in the lesson. Also, look at the lesson plan examples given to you for a better idea of how to actually write the introduction of a lesson. Thank you. The development phase of the lesson must be linked to your introduction. Refer once more to your draft plan. Before we examine what to write in the development phase of the lesson, it is important to have a clear understanding of the terms concepts and content. Let us look at a topic such as the 3 sectors of business. The concepts that we shall focus on for this topic are the primary sector, the secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. For each of these 3 sectors, we shall develop the content. For example, under the primary sector, the content may be agriculture, fishing, mining, etc. And for each of these, we develop the content under agriculture, under fishing, under mining. The secondary sector, the content may be food processing, jewelry making, and for each of these content we can develop, and for each of these like food processing, jewelry industry, we will develop the content. The tertiary sector, the content may be chain stores like your Checkers and your Edgar's and so on. And for each of these, we can develop some content. All this information can be found in the textbooks. You could also find information in your own research or on the internet. When you write the development phase of your lesson, do not copy the information from the textbook. What you need to do is to show how you will teach the material from the textbook. You can do this by explaining what teaching method or methods you will use, what resources will be used to make your lesson more understandable for the learners, what questions will be asked during the phase to ensure that learners are following your lessons. When writing the development phase, always ensure that learners are participating in the lesson and it is not digressing into a lecture. Once more, for each concept mentioned, how you will teach it, what are you going to teach, what resources will be used. List the questions to be asked. This part of the lesson should be between 20 to 30 minutes of the total lesson plan. That is, if your lesson is for a 1-hour period. Make sure that the lesson is developed in steps. Don't jump around from one concept to the next. It is important for you as a teacher to be thoroughly familiar with the topic. Know your learners well as the environment in which you are going to be teaching. All these things help in developing a good lesson. Once more, refer to the examples of the lesson plans given to you on Moodle, and these will give you a good idea of how to write your development part of the lesson. Thank you. The lesson plan is like writing an essay. You have an introduction, development, and conclusion. The conclusion phase of the lesson is where you, as a teacher, need to check whether the objectives have been met. Did the learners gain new knowledge? Did they acquire a new skill? Has it changed their values or attitude? When writing the consolidation phase of your lesson, you need to think about creative ways of checking if your objectives have been met. One of the easiest ways is to ask questions. Think about new ways of concluding your lesson. You can have a quick quiz and create a competition among the learners. You could also use an interactive chart. You can also ask learners to teach back. When you write the consolidation phase of the lesson, mention what questions will be asked. Also mention what resources will be used and how they will be used. And how they will be used to ascertain that learners have understood the lesson. This phase should take between 5 to 8 minutes of your lesson time. Note, you will need to allocate time for learner activity. You may need to create an activity in the form of a worksheet, or you may refer the learners to an exercise from the textbook. All this must be shown on your lesson plan. Thank you.